We are now going to talk about different types of graphs. The first one is known as a simple graph. This contains no loops or multiple edges. So as you can see, there are no loops happening here, and there is no multiple edges, meaning there's only one way from one vertex to another. There aren't like multiple different options like that. To get from this vertex to this vertex, there's only one option. To get from this one to this one, there's only one option. So there aren't multiple edges between vertices, and there are no loops. Next one, we have something known as a degenerate graph. So a graph where all the vertices are isolated. So a degenerate graph, we have no edges. Next, a connected graph. So this is a graph where every vertex is connected directly or indirectly, i.e. every vertex is reachable from all other vertices. There are no isolated vertices, and here's an example of that here. Next is a bridge. So a bridge is an edge that, if removed, will cause a connected graph to become a disconnected graph. So if we look over here, you can see that this right here, if I was to get rid of this, then, I would end up with a disconnected graph. So a bridge is an edge. So we can write this in. This is the bridge. So bridge, an edge that, if removed, will cause a connected graph to become a disconnected graph. So there it is right there. Perfect. Let's keep on going here. A subgraph, part of the original graph which contains selected edges and vertices of the original with the same links, often used to show a possible pathway to in a graph. So a subgraph does not need to be drawn in exactly the same way as the original graph, but it must contain the same information. So as you can see here, here's our original graph. We've got A, B, C, D, and we've got all these edges here. A subgraph has just excluded this edge here, and it's excluded that edge here. So it's only showing some of the information of our original graph. This is not a subgraph because edges C to D was not in the original graph. So do you see here? This was not in the original graph. And let me do it in another color. Let me do it in red. This is not a subgraph because they've added in an edge that wasn't in the original. And this is also not a subgraph. And the reason why this one is not a subgraph is because, we've got that, we've got that, we've got that. But look, they have not drawn in part C. So what on earth is, where is that edge going to? They haven't drawn in C. So not a graph, as no vertex is drawn at C. Perfect. And those are the different types of graphs, and that is what a subgraph is. Hopefully you have found this helpful.